News: a woman shot and killed Memorial Day weekend in New Orleans. Here's what we know. Police are on the scene right now. This is a live look from Hollygrove and Palmetto Streets. We are told an 18-year-old woman shot and killed. She was found dead on scene. Police got on scene about 90 minutes ago. We are working to get additional details on why this happened and who is responsible.
Hollygrove, New Orleans, Sunday afternoon, May 24th, 2026. Memorial Day weekend. The kind of slow, hot Louisiana Sunday where the city moves at half speed and the air carries the smell of someone's cookout 3 blocks away. 3:35 p.m. A young woman is in her own driveway. She is 18 years old, graduated from high school exactly 2 days earlier. Her diploma is somewhere inside the house she is standing outside of. Her cap and gown are folded in a closet she will never open again. She does not see what is coming. By the end of the next 20 minutes, neighbors will tell New Orleans police they heard between 10 and 20 loud pops. Investigators will return to that driveway later that night and the next day, and they will collect 20 spent rifle casings from the concrete and the grass. 20. For a single 18-year-old standing in her own driveway on a Sunday afternoon, the prosecutor at the bond hearing will use one word to describe that number, and it is the only word that fits: extreme. The woman in the driveway has a name that, within 48 hours, an entire city will learn. Her name is Ra'Mya Rene Silvan.
Hey y'all, do my lip combo with me. What the hell am I getting out? Hey y'all, do my lip combo with me. So, got the today's lip combo. I might put some lip gloss. I don't know. Let's see. So I got my MAC pencil in the shade Chestnut. This is the JT lip combo, but
Warren Easton Charter High School, class of 2026, future college student, daughter, friend, the kind of bright, college-bound young woman whose graduation photos have just been posted to half a dozen social media accounts and are still being liked, reposted, and celebrated by relatives who have not yet seen the news. Somewhere in this story there is also an iPad. How does an 18-year-old young woman survive 13 years of school, walk across a graduation stage to a standing ovation, post the photos that announce the next chapter of her life, and die in her own driveway 2 days later? Why is everyone in this story still smiling in the photos taken hours before the shots? To understand this, you have to begin where the audience first met her. You have to begin with the photos. Because before Ra'Mya Silvan was a headline, she was an image. Many images, the kind of images that fill the camera roll of any high-achieving American teenager in the final spring of her senior year. Prom dress photos in the living room with the family dog wandering into the frame.
hey guys, so at the Japanese tea garden, and we're right in front of the waterfall.
Graduation gown photos on the lawn, with somebody's auntie shouting at everybody to turn just slightly to the left because the lighting is better. Group photos with classmates she has known since freshman year. Selfies in the school hallway. Selfies in the parking lot. Selfies in the car, on the way somewhere. The visual evidence of a life arriving at one of its biggest thresholds, intact, celebrated, on schedule. This is what teenagers do now. They document the thresholds.
I am. We're vlogging.
What's up? You know, hard work, determination got me up. I'm on the big and better thing. You know how I do.
You already know my name.
They have grown up understanding that a moment is not finished until it has been photographed, captioned, and shared. For their parents' generation, the prom photo was one print in a sleeve. For their grandparents' generation, the graduation was one Polaroid taped to the refrigerator. For Ra'Mya's generation, A single weekend can generate hundreds of images across half a dozen platforms, each one timestamped, each one geotagged, each one visible to friends, strangers, and the casual scrollers in cities Ra'Mya had never visited. In a case like this, it means that when something terrible happens to a young woman whose life was being publicly documented in real time, there is an archive, record, there is a digital before. You can scroll backward through her last 48 hours, the way investigators scroll backward through a security tape, and you can see her smiling, laughing, posing, holding flowers, holding diplomas, standing next to people who, in the photographs, look like nothing in the world is wrong. That is the deepest cruelty of cases like this one. The photos do not warn you. The photos do not know. A camera captures light. A camera captures geometry. A camera captures the angle of a smile, the position of two people in a frame, the laughter in mid-breath. What a camera cannot capture is what is happening inside the frame, at the level no lens has ever been built to reach. The camera does not see the breakup that happened last week. The camera does not see the argument from the night before. The camera does not see the message thread on the phone that is currently being held just out of the shot. The camera does not see the pattern that a counselor, given 30 minutes alone with the young woman, would have recognized inside of 5. This is the lie social media tells the rest of us, by accident every single day. Not a deliberate lie, just the inherent limitation of pictures. A photograph is, by its nature, a thin slice, a heartbeat, a frame at 1/25th of a second. The viewer fills in the rest. The viewer assumes that because the smile is real, the safety is real. The viewer assumes that because the laughter is real, the love is real. The viewer assumes that because the two of them are in frame together, hours before something unspeakable happens, the two of them must be fine. The viewer is doing what human beings have always done. They are mistaking visible joy for invisible safety. They are confusing what they can see with what is actually there. Now turn back the calendar 2 days, to Friday, May 22nd, 2026. Warren Easton Charter High School in New Orleans is one of the oldest public high schools in the American South. The hallways have produced generations of New Orleans professionals, athletes, artists, and civic leaders. For seniors at Warren Easton, graduation is not a formality. It is a public, communal ritual. Family members fly in, aunties drive over, cousins put on their best clothes. The graduates themselves walk across the stage, knowing that everyone in the room has been waiting 13 years to see them do exactly this. On May 22nd, Ra'Mya Silvan walked across that stage. A diploma is not just a piece of paper. A diploma is the receipt for a decade and change of waking up early. A decade of homework, a decade of group projects, a decade of standardized tests, a decade of teachers who pushed her, and a decade of family members who covered for her when she needed it. A diploma is the physical artifact of an entire community's investment in one young woman's future. When Ra'Mya took hers in her hand on that Friday, she was not just finishing high school. She was crossing a threshold that her family, her school, and her city had been building toward for years. She had plans. The Warren Easton community would say so in their official statement after her death. A bright, talented young woman with a promising future ahead of her. Those are the words the school chose, and they are the words to hold on to, because the school knew her. The school had watched her become the young woman she was on graduation day. The school is not in the business of inflating its alumni. When Warren Easton says promising, they mean it. The plans had a name, they had a shape. College was coming. Whatever the specific institution, whatever the specific major, the framework was the same as it is for thousands of college-bound American 18-year-olds every June. Find the dorm, buy the things, pack the boxes, hug the family, leave the city you grew up in, and walk into a new life on a campus where nobody knows you yet. A new room, a new schedule, a new version of yourself. The version after high school, the version college will introduce you to. The week after graduation is supposed to be the threshold week. Not yet a college student, not anymore a high school student. A young person in the doorway. Time off. Sleep in. See the family. See the friends. Eat the homemade food. Take the last few photos in the bedroom you grew up in. before somebody else's adulthood begins. Ra'Mya was in that doorway on Sunday, May 24th, 2026, when she died.
An 18-year-old girl was shot and killed this afternoon in New Orleans. The shooting happened around 3:30 in the 3800 block of Holly Grove Street, according to police. Investigators say anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number, 504-822-1111.
Now I need to introduce a second person into this story. His name is Daniel Victor Romero. He was 20 years old. He was from Slidell, Louisiana, on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, about a 30-minute drive from New Orleans on a clear day. According to Silvan's family, as reported by police, he was Ra'Mya's ex-boyfriend, and the two of them had been in a relationship the family described to investigators as tumultuous, and the two of them had just broken up. I want to stop here, because what comes next matters legally and morally. Daniel Romero has been arrested. He has been charged with second-degree murder. He has appeared in court. The judge has ordered him held without bond. Prosecutors have laid out their case at the bond hearing. None of that is the same as a conviction. The American legal system, for reasons that go back centuries, requires that the prosecution prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt before a court can say a person is guilty. That process has not yet happened. Until it does, Romero allegedly drove from Slidell into New Orleans on the afternoon of Sunday, May 24th. He had what would later be described by investigators as a pretext for going to Ra'Mya's house. He was, allegedly, going to drop off an iPad. The iPad was a tangible object, a real reason to make the trip, a normal-sounding errand. Two recent exes can have ordinary errands. Phones get left behind, chargers get borrowed, iPads get returned. From the outside, on paper, the trip looked like a small, civil, post-breakup logistics call. A neighbor, according to the affidavit, would later identify a silver Jeep Grand Cherokee fleeing the area after the gunshots. That Jeep was identified as Romero's. Real-time crime camera footage. The system of public safety cameras that New Orleans has installed at intersections across the city allegedly placed his vehicle near Silvan's house in the minutes before the shooting. 20 spent rifle casings were collected at the scene. The iPad, allegedly, was found there too. Ra'Mya was discovered by police unconscious in her driveway. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Watch the architecture of that for a moment, because this is one of the patterns the public health literature has documented for decades, and one of the patterns this case appears to fit. The single most dangerous time in an abusive, intimate relationship is not during the relationship. It is in the weeks immediately after the relationship ends. Researchers have known this for 40 years. Domestic violence advocates train shelter workers on this. Police officers in family violence units study this. The pattern is so well established that there is a clinical term for it: separation violence. The moment a young woman says, "I am done," is the moment that the risk to her physical safety, statistically, climbs. What it means is that when a relationship was already showing warning signs of control, jealousy, or coercion, the act of leaving can sometimes trigger the most violent response of the entire relationship. The ex-partner's logic, if you can call it logic, is that if they cannot have the person, they will make sure no one else can either. The pretext is almost always something innocuous: a phone left behind, a box of stuff, an exchange of items, an iPad. I am not saying that is what happened here. That is for the courtroom to decide. Daniel Romero, as of this recording, is innocent until proven guilty, and a trial will determine whether the state's narrative holds up. What I am saying is that anyone who has worked in this field for any length of time, who reads the public details of this case, recognizes the shape of it. They recognize the shape because they have seen the shape before. They have seen it too many times. The bond hearing took place on Tuesday, May 26, 2026. Romero appeared in court. His head was down for most of the hearing. His face, the report noted, remained emotionless, even when the judge ordered him held without bond. Prosecutors argued that the number of bullets fired was extreme and that he posed a danger to the public. They argued he had tried to hide evidence, including the gun. They argued that he had only turned himself in because his family had asked him to. not because he wanted to face the charges. The judge agreed that he was a potential risk to witnesses. If convicted of second-degree murder under Louisiana law, he faces life in prison. While he sat in that courtroom, an entire city was already in mourning. Warren Easton Charter High School released its official statement that week. The Warren Easton Charter High School community is heartbroken over the tragic loss of recent graduate Ra'Mya Rene Silvan. Ra'Mya was a bright, talented young woman with a promising future ahead of her, and her loss is deeply felt throughout our school community. We extend our deepest condolences and prayers to her family, friends, classmates, and all who knew and loved her. Read that statement again carefully. There is a word in it that is doing the most work. Recent graduate. Recent meaning, in this case, 48 hours. Recent meaning, the school had not yet had time to take her name off the bulletin board. Recent meaning, her teachers had not yet finished the long exhale of a senior year that finally ended. Recent meaning her diploma was still warm. Now picture the photos one more time. The ones from prom, the ones from graduation, the ones from the weekend in between. They are still online. They are still being viewed. They will be online for years. Strangers will scroll into them through hashtags and timelines, and they will see a young woman smiling, posing, laughing, surrounded by friends, surrounded by family, surrounded by light. The images will be exactly what they always were: joyful, hopeful, forward-looking. The images themselves did not change when she died, only your knowledge of them changed. That is the disorientation of this kind of grief in the social media age. You can hold the proof of the future and the proof of the ending in the same hand. You can scroll from a prom photo to a news headline in less than a second. The phone does not know the difference. The phone treats both with the same neutral white background. It is you who has to hold the contradiction. It is you who has to look at the smile and know what happened 48 hours later. It is the photos that stay innocent. It is you who can no longer see them the way you did the day they were posted. Take a breath with me for a moment, before I close, because I need to say something to you directly. This is not the kind of story I bring to you so you can feel a brief, useful sadness and then move on with your evening. I bring stories like this because somewhere in the audience watching this video right now, there is a young woman in a relationship that has started to scare her, and she does not know what to call it yet. There is a young woman whose phone is being checked, whose location is being tracked, whose friendships are being criticized, whose breakups never quite stick because the apologies come fast and the gifts come faster. There is a young woman watching this video who is the same age Ra'Mya was, with the same plans Ra'Mya had, and the same threshold opening in front of her. If you are that young woman, hear me clearly. The most dangerous moment in a relationship like that is not while you are in it. It is the moment you decide to leave. That is the moment to have a plan. That is the moment to tell someone. That is the moment to not be alone in your own driveway with a person whose anger has been growing in places no camera could see. The National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 1-800-799-7233. It is free. It is confidential. It is available 24 hours a day, every day, in over 200 languages. The number is in the description of this video. Write it down. Save it. Tell a friend who needs it. Tell a cousin. Tell yourself. And if this kind of story moved you, the kind where the person at the center is treated as a person and not a clip, the kind where the warning signs are named and the resources are real and the accused is treated with the legal care they are owed, even when the facts look terrible, then subscribe to this channel. Like this video. Share it with one young woman in your life who needs to see it. Every subscriber, every like, every share is a vote for storytelling that does some good on the way out the door. Because the day this channel stops getting those votes is the day the only stories that survive on this platform are the cruel ones, told fast. We are not going to be that. As long as you are here, we are not going to be that. Now let me close the way these stories should be closed. With the math, with the irony, with the question, the official number. 1. One bright young woman. 1 graduation gown folded in a closet. 1 charging document. 1 defendant in jail without bond, awaiting trial. The official version of this case, like every official version, fits onto a single page. The real number is harder to count. The real number includes the classmates from Warren Easton who walked across the graduation stage 2 days before her and who will spend the next year of college glancing at the empty chair where she should have been at every reunion. The real number includes the teachers who watched her grow up. The real number includes the family members who flew in for graduation and stayed for the funeral. The real number includes every young woman in this country who saw Ra'Mya's name trend on her timeline and felt her stomach drop because she recognized her own boyfriend in the shape of the story. Here is the irony. Because this story has one, and it is the cruelest kind. Ra'Mya Silvan crossed her threshold. She did the thing thousands of American 18-year-olds spend 13 years preparing to do. She walked across the stage, she got the diploma, she earned the future. She had 2 days as a high school graduate, 2 days as a young adult on the cusp of college, 2 days standing in the doorway between the life she had finished and the life she was about to begin. The threshold opened for her. The threshold opened, and she got to stand inside it for 48 hours. What the photos captured during those 48 hours will outlive everyone in this story. The smile is preserved. The laughter is preserved. The promise is preserved. Strangers will scroll into those images for the rest of the internet's existence and meet her the way her family met her on those last days. Joyful, hopeful, free. The doorway is still open in the photos. The doorway will always be open in the photos. She just was not allowed to walk through. Somewhere in New Orleans tonight, a mother is sitting in a quiet room with a graduation program in her lap, reading her daughter's name off the printed page over and over again, the way you do when you cannot quite believe it is the only thing left of her. That is where this story ends tonight. Not in the driveway, not in the courtroom. In that room, with that program. In a silence no camera was ever built to capture. Next time, I am going to tell you about a young woman in a different city, with a different threshold, and a warning sign no one in her life could read in time. Stay close, stay safe. Tell someone you love them tonight. I will see you there.